Probably should get started.
In fact, welcome to Super Casperless, everybody, the podcast where none of the hosts have played the game of the year. Congratulations, Elden Ring. You're just not my style, I'm sorry. I don't want to scream and rage at a game. I want to enjoy myself. But yeah, Zantok, we got Jonno. He's always here. And we got the return of... Who are you again? No, behind you.
Oh, that's name and address withheld.
Nope, it's just me, KellyJelly.
Oh.
Tell me, Mr.
Yes.
KellyJelly, is your blood white? Because if it is, you might be a robot.
I don't know. I don't have a sharp implement.
I can help with that.
I like the shing. Very.
We
didn't even have to add that in post. Amazing. His blood is jelly.
Oh, there we go. What kind of jelly is your blood?
Boysenberry.
Ooh, you can keep it.
Sucks. I would have preferred apple.
Oh, okay.
Or anything other than boysenberry, really.
Yeah,
It's a blessing and a curse, I suppose.
I mean, I guess if it's boysenberry, then that means nobody's going to want your blood, including you, so nobody's going to try and kill you for your jelly blood.
Joke's on you. It's O negative.
Oh,
that's not. But I wish.
O negative jelly?
O negative boysenberry. Yes, that's
O negative. Yep. Great band.
I'm trying to figure out how much that's worth in the black market. Give me a moment.
So what do you usually spread that on?
Legs.
Oh.
But he's
wow. I think normally I'm the one who says something that pushes the envelope a little too hard. Oh boy.
All right. So, hi. It's a Smash or Dash. But considering some things that are, it's the end of the year, before we go into our usual rate their chances stuff, let's talk about a few other things first. The Game Awards just happened. God of War won almost everything it was nominated for, which I think most people probably predicted would happen. Except it didn't win Game of the Year, which is normally what happens when you win almost every award. But hey, Elden Ring. All I know is it's a Souls game, and there's a weapon that shoots bubbles, and that's all I need to know, because that sounds... the bubble stick, I do think sounds fun, but... I don't know. What do you guys think about the Game of the Year? It's not what I voted for, but what is everybody's games of the year for them this year?
Kelly, what say you?
Me? My game of the year was without a doubt Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Because 3 is a magic number. And there were a lot of numbers that happen in battle when you attack enemies. They blow up all over the place. But I loved it. I'm still... I finished it, but it was beat for beat the experience of the year for me.
It's funny, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 not only has a lot of numbers, but it has a lot of letters, too.
Got that right. The whole alphabet.
Not the whole alphabet, actually. Not the whole alphabet. There's a letter missing.
And it's X. Oh my god. How strange.
There's speculation that they'll be involved in the DLC story, but we don't know.
What's interesting about Xenoblade 3 as well is that one could say that 1 and 2 are just as important to its story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can play any of them solo. You don't have to play the others at all. But you definitely have a better appreciation for 3 if you've played or at least watched 1 and 2.
And 1
X,
plus 2 is 3.
Nobody cares about X.
I did.
I think is unfortunate. X really needs to be rolled in somehow. I just don't know how they'll do it.
Story-wise, it seems like it's kind of in its own world or far off enough to where it's its own thing. But who knows?
I mean, spoilers for 1 and 2. They're in their own worlds too.
Actually, maybe we should talk about this off podcast. Actually, I just remembered parts of the Story Beats 2 cross. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've been
Good
wanting to
game.
learn about X eventually. I just haven't had a chance. So
Just for the sake of saying something different, probably Splatoon 3 for takes the best of what 1 and 2 had to offer and improves upon it. I mean, the formula. I think Splatoon was easily the saving grace for the Wii U, and really has become a flagship series fast for Nintendo for good reason. It's taking a very popular genre and innovating it with inks and squids and kids.
Nintendo
And I
successfully made a third person shooter game, which I don't think anybody would have ever predicted that would have happened.
Yeah. Also, 3 cheers for the training lobby in this game.
Absolutely.
Admittedly, I haven't played it as much as I'd want to because of games like Xenoblade 3. But well, and just the tides of life itself, but it's great.
Over on my end, like what you'll always do on my YouTube, Slugstar Gaming, Way Trail and I made a video covering our top 10 games of the year. It's not up yet. It'll be uploaded, I believe, the first Tuesday of January. So it'll go up there. But just a little shot of my game of the year was also Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Because holy shit, that game. I started off just going like, all right, I want to explore all the side areas, I want to do all the side quests, but then a certain fucking thing happened in the story that I can't mention yet because somebody hasn't gotten there. And at that point, it's like, all right, fuck the side game. I need to know what happens in the real game. Let's fucking go in the story here.
Oh, I know what happened to Mwamba. It's very tragic.
Again, that is chapter 1.
Hearts out to him. It was his last mission.
I mean, it was. He was literally 3 days from retirement. It's like they fucking went there. It's like, you sons of bitches.
The worst part about that is just the idea that it could just be me looking at myself in the mirror.
I mean... So, another thing happened. You know, a lot of these other companies, Spotify and whatever, they like to do their whole year in review stuff. And I got emails today from both Twitch and Nintendo about your year review. I was like, okay, sure, the Twitch one is whatever. But Nintendo, for the Nintendo Switch, is like, hey, here are the games you played the most this year and whatever. And the game I played the most is not Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It was Pokemon Legends Arceus. I have 235 hours in that.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. My God.
Yep.
I mean, I beat the story.
I got everything.
Man, oh man.
Listen, the plot of the game is literally complete the Pokedex. That's my shit.
Having played Arceus and Scarlet, would you say one's better than the other? Or?
Yes, and it's Arceus.
I kind of have the feeling.
I think Scarlet is better than how people have been largely treating it. But Arceus kicks its ass. Arceus was more fun.
Yeah, I take it that they were being developed around the same time, if I'm reading the stories correctly. So that's why there's some sort of disconnect in some of the quality of life that Arceus included that Scarlet and Violet don't. But hopefully, with the next entry, they managed to make a better landing. Kelly, what was your most played Switch game of the year?
I checked, and it wasn't Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It was actually Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
You know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. 2 has a lot more side content.
It has a lot more. Field traversal skills as well. A lot more blade. But well, I started late on Blade 2 train. One of my closest friends, he loves it. He pushed me to get on it. Eventually, I went to fine. I'll do it, and it was fun. I don't know if I enjoyed it. I still think Xenoblade 1 is still like in my top 5 of all time. Xenoblade 3 is contesting it, but I'm still not sure. The Xenoblade 2, I had mixed feelings about it overall. I loved certain aspects of it, and I just did not like certain parts of it. So
let me take a stab. the gacha mechanics and the waifu mechanics were probably on the negative side.
It wasn't even that bad. Like that, I can look past some of that stuff. It was mostly just a lot of the shuffling and like that goes into it. Like I said, with the field, just a lot of tedium. A lot of you need to have this sorted out first before you can go here, or you need to have this number to traverse.
Mm-hmm. I think the gameplay in 2 is certainly meatier than 1, and that comes with its own checks and balances and pluses and minuses.
I won't make a joke there.
I think he was fishing for it, so that's probably a good idea.
But yeah, it makes sense. Definitely.
It's like I didn't play 1. I've only watched it, but it was a full 100% playthrough. And I can't say anything bad about the story for 1. 2 does have like a couple areas that feel a little like, okay, did we need this? 3 felt short to me personally. 3 felt way short compared to 1 and 2. But combat wise, I think 2's combat is what I prefer of the 3. And then 3 and then 1. 1 I just don't care for the fact that the Monado is the only thing that can affect the Mechon. It's like, really?
And the topple mechanic is fairly prevalent.
Yeah. And it feels like it's an MMO style of hitting your abilities. It's like, if I wanted to play an MMO, I would.
That's why I quite enjoyed it at the time. I think a lot of it also was the time that Kelly and I were playing it at launch and it being a rare treat on the Wii as well. I because tonally I prefer 1 to 2. I mean, 2 had more of like the anime kind of stuff, like you were saying. Fair bit.
It
more.
is weird if you stand Shulk next to Rex. Seems like there is a huge difference in art styles here.
Yeah, and they're literally like a split out atom, like two separate dimensions. But I've really come to enjoy both and the characters from both games and the gameplay style of both games. And I think 3, I've heard it's relatively short compared to 1 and 2. Yeah, even though I haven't beat it yet. But tonally, I really enjoy 3. I like the darker tones of 3. So I'm looking forward to actually beating it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, my number 1 most played game of the year on the Nintendo Switch was Mario Party Superstars.
Wait,
there you go.
Hold up. Because we played that together for recording, and I only have 14 hours in it. So what the hell?
I have 62 hours.
Okay.
So
you're playing it with family, then I'm guessing.
My sister and Jamie and some other friends.
Okay, so you got, man, that's your number 1, then you got a lot more time than Xenoblade 3, because I have 178 hours in that game.
I think that's where I'm at too. 170 something.
Wait, what?
And
it's short?
Compared to 2? Yes, sir.
I feel like it's like a more lateral game, than, if that makes sense, because like there's like the main narrative, but there's also a lot of like each hero has their own like side quest, and it feels almost at times like the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Saturday morning cartoon, if that makes sense. Feels like there's a lot of like substantial side content that helps kind of drive the main narrative.
I understand. Okay, I looked up the main story's playtime. That's about 60 hours. Okay, that's fair. That's about standard, I think, for RPGs.
I think part of the reason why I feel short is, I mean, part is just like there's less chapters. It's just a less number of chapters than the previous 2 games, which doesn't necessarily mean that there's less content, but it definitely makes it feel like there's less.
Right. Yeah, and then I mean, there's a big drop, and then right now I have 17 hours in 3, so I have a fair amount left to go apparently.
Yeah, my drop off goes 235 for Arceus, 178 for Xenoblade, and then 84 for Pokemon Scarlet. So
wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah,
too.
and I finished Scarlet. The only thing, like, I'm waiting on a couple friends of mine to finish the game too, so that we can like, okay, can we trade our version exclusives, please? And then I can finally finish the damn decks.
Yeah, and then Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which actually that's an amazing game. An amazing game. I
Yeah.
don't regret saying Splatoon 3, but Kirby, if I had remembered it at the time, probably would have been my number one game.
Kirby might be the best new game I watched this year, except I don't know. I watched all of Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Forgotten
Yeah.
Land, that it instilled that fuzzy feeling that that just hit in all the right places.
And not just because Goromondo's
What if
there.
we made another moveset for a Kirby character?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe we'll do that.
You're saying the end boss.
Yes, the end boss, who we can't say because I don't remember what it is.
That Sonic character.
Chaos? Chaos
Yeah.
is in this game? We're Kirby 06?
Thecto Elphilus is apparently its name, which I forgot. Okay, then.
That is
ultimate
not a
life form.
good game.
Oh, it's a great game. It's just a bad
No, I meant
name.
like bad name. That's what I meant. Yeah, it's like, oof. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are definitely better
It
options.
was a cool. It was a great fight, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Real challenge.
Well,
all right. Well, I think that's all we really have to say about year in review, game of the year. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into our Rate Their Chances nominees for tonight.
wait. Speaking
What?
of nominees,
Yes.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank my Reformed
No,
Orthodox Rabbi,
no,
KellyJelly.
no. Rate Their Chances. See, now
What
I'm
a
not
moment.
happy anymore, and I was happy.
Damn it,
And
Jonno,
it's
you ruined.
gone. All
A rare
right, so our
moment.
first
Would you
Rate
like
Their
to hear?
Chances tonight is going to be Phoenix Wright. He's the main protagonist of Ace Attorney, which is a great game, but I'm not excited anymore because Jonno just sucked it out of me. He's a lawyer and he shouts objection, and he almost always wins his case, except for the times when he doesn't.
Careful. Spoiler alert.
I didn't say when, and it can happen outside of the games. I didn't say it happened in-game. It can happen off-screen. Just like that time you died off-screen, and then you got better.
Yeah. Was that another 999 reference?
No, that was the Ducks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know them.
Yeah. You are quite familiar with ducks and what they eat, and it turns out Kelly is what they eat.
Ducks like jelly, huh?
Yes.
Jelly.
Boysenberry.
Yes. Anyways, so Phoenix Wright, his chances to be in Smash in actuality. So the big argument I always see against Phoenix is, well, he's not a fighter. All right, Villager, Isabelle, Wii Fit Trainer, Rob. The list goes on. That argument isn't valid anymore, and it really wasn't ever, because we had Game & Watch and Ice Climbers in Melee. Get over it, people. But then also, and plus, Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3 added him as a character, and he works fine there. Yes, he's extremely gimmicky, which is, personally, I think, to his detriment in terms of my actually enjoying playing as him. But, you know, it's whatever. At least he got the fucking recognition. But there's also the fact that Capcom has a lot of good options between Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, though the developers don't want Monster Hunter to be in, you know, whatever. Darkstalkers, more Street Fighter, more Mega Man, Ghosts and Goblins. There's a lot of options from Capcom. And is Phoenix a standout? Oh, also Okami, before Jonno fucking flays me for not mentioning Okami.
Those are my whips. I also have control over beetles I can send to you with my mind.
Why don't you tell me what you think about Phoenix Wright?
Oh, he's a nice guy. His hair is something to strive for.
His chances in Smash.
I liked it when he wore the beanie. You know,
Honestly, it's got to be an alternate costume, right? Come on. We need Hobo Phoenix.
It's a must.
And I hope that we get a sequel in the future that shows us old Phoenix, kind of like old Snake.
Ooh.
I'm sure
Old
that would
Phoenix.
be rather.
That would actually be interesting.
Yeah.
Now, does he go gray hair or white hair?
Good question.
Or does he dye it because he's in denial of his age?
That'll probably come first, yeah. Yeah, I mean, to all your points, I think you pretty much covered it. I think that he is, at least here in the West, a very well-respected and well-wanted character as far as the Smash community is concerned. I think he ranks fairly highly in like the Source Gaming polls and Smash Words polls and so on and so forth pretty regularly, and has more fanfare honestly than say Amaterasu or some of the more niche characters do, like Frank West or whatever. I think his primary competition isn't necessarily Okami or Ghosts and Goblins or some of the more cult classic Capcom games per se, but Street Fighter is a major entity that just because you have Ryu and Ken doesn't mean we can't get Chun-Li or M. Bison or
Rashid.
Preferably Dhalsim or Rashid. Yes. And Resident Evil as well is a huge one. Any number of characters from that franchise could make it in. Leon, Jill, Chris, Claire, Wesker, preferably, although that won't happen. Ethan Winter. No, just kidding. He doesn't have a face. He doesn't.
We could get Rosemary though.
Rosemary is like fucking awesome.
She's playable in the DLC. I honestly could see that. I think she's going to be the lead for the next game.
I hope so. Her superpowers from the mold have not been fully explored. Although, funnily enough, that's a third-person DLC, and they still don't show Ethan Winter's face in it. Like whenever they show it.
At this point, it's a joke to them. Like they're not going to do it.
It definitely.
He has a face modeled. It is fully modeled. It's just like, nah.
But it's not canon, right? Like he literally, like some angles, like they turn around and say that's his arm strategically placed over his face, or literally like a cup. It's rather entertaining. Or
it's like the neighbor in Home Improvement. You're never going to see his face.
It's like the parent.
The season finale, yeah.
Their legs. Like encourage them.
Or the mayor's assistant in Powerpuff Girls. You never see her head. It's just neck bolted down. It's like,
exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Like Peanuts and whatever. That's a long established trope. Yeah. That's pretty entertaining. But yeah, or Dante from the Devil May Cry series. I think that there's fairly high profile Capcom characters that are standing in Phoenix's way. Even though Nintendo, I mean, you know, like through the Smash ballot, they're probably well aware that he's well liked in certain regions. But you know, just as they are Gino, who probably got I'm sure that he plays within top 5 at least in the West. And it didn't happen. So there's still rights issues. Well, yeah,
we are biased. Gino did not place top 5. No fucking way.
Maybe top 10.
Maybe top 5 in our age in our age bracket, maybe.
Yeah,
but not top 5.
That's true. Just because you sort through Smash Wars or Game FAQs and see that he's the most talked about there doesn't necessarily mean that he's the most talked about within the general gaming community, which is much broader than Smash.
Like how we were caught off guard by Bayonetta being declared the de facto ballot winner, because like, who? But we're not every gamer.
Yep. All the same, though, I think that what's really standing in Gino's way is what Square wants. So he easily could have happened by now if it weren't for Square. And it's the same thing. Sakurai or Nintendo might say, we really want Phoenix. And Capcom may say, you can have Dante because he's who we want to promote.
In which case, Sakurai will just be like, I mean, I wanted Phoenix, but Dante is also really fucking cool. So.
So yeah, I think he has decent chances, but not necessarily compared to every Capcom character.
Yeah.
Kelly?
Yeah, I think it's just as you guys have summed up. It's like Capcom's one of their biggest strength is their characters, their wide roster of characters, and I think Phoenix his simplicity like helps him stand out amongst these more complex design characters. I would say he's got this sort of charm to him that's still prevalent on, like, you look on the internet to this day from since like the late 2000s. His debut, not debut, but his reappearance on DS was a huge boost to his popularity and his reputation. And he kind of has that sort of like honorary Nintendo character status, I think, along with like Shantae.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like I don't think it's the most likely the Capcom characters. I think that's Dante, and then after Dante No McRae, I think it's a mixture of Ace Attorney, a third rather Street Fighter character, or Resident Evil. Thank you. I was running through all these different games, like, what's the one I'm actually thinking of? No, not Monster Hunter. No, not Metal Gear. It's the wrong fucking company.
There's so
Resident
many
Evil.
games. Yeah.
There's so many games. Fuck. But like,
and then
I
we
feel
get
like
Sissel from Ghost Trick.
I'm down for that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make a moveset for him, but I don't know how. It's like, shit. What do I do for you, though? There's nothing
Either one
actually
of what
makes
you
sense.
just said. Yes.
Yeah. It's like I think it's the next Capcom character is going to be something from that group. But as far as Phoenix chances are himself, I mean, you mentioned how, like, yeah, he is more niche, but something I want to mention, when they announced Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it was an upgrade over the original Marvel vs. Capcom 3, obviously, and they were going to be adding 12 new characters, but we didn't know who they were at first until somebody decided to play around the website's code and realized that, a programmer left in the names and artwork for all the new characters. So we immediately knew who they all were, and what character got the most hype? Phoenix Wright. He may be niche, but he is loved. I'm going 40%. Which is probably high, but fuck it. I think his chances are like, despite there being stiff Capcom competition, I don't think his odds are bad. They're decent.
I agree, and I Phoenix was a great inclusion to that game, and I think that, you know, if they wanted to double dip on gimmicks, it wouldn't be surprising if they had the evidence grab or whatever in Smash either.
Also, super easy echoes between Miles, Athena, or Apollo.
Totally. They'll give you all three.
I don't think they would do that, but it'd be Miles more than likely.
Yeah, probably so. I can't imagine it any other way. Yeah, outside shot of Apollo.
Actually, it might be Apollo, because can you see Edgeworth like sneezing on his opponents? Because I can't.
Yes, he'll simply spill tea instead.
If the court were to be the stage and you could have Miles to reenact the kind of prosecutor versus defense, I don't know. You could probably go either way.
I'm so used to calling him by his last name that I thought we were talking about Tails.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why I said Miles. And the second time I said it, I realized, like, why am I saying it? It's too late now.
Yeah, that guy Miles, one of my favorite Spider-Man. Yeah. Yeah. I actually do. I think 40% is fair. He's been talked about a lot on the scene. I think he's well liked. The only thing standing in his way are other characters from his own company. I'll say like 38.
Okay. Kelly, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, it seems about the sweet spot. I was thinking 35%.
Okay.
Okay.
Just enough.
So averaging them all together, that's going to give us a score of 37.67% chances, which honestly, I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Wow. That was a great roster of newcomers for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
It
really makes you
really
wonder what
is.
happened with Infinite.
Remember Rocket?
What happened with Infinite is there's a lot that happened with Infinite, and we do not have the time to go over that right now.
Rocket
Let's just
Raccoon,
say
yes.
shenanigans.
Yes, Kelly.
Or, I mean, Rocket was in UMVC 3, so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Marvel added Rocket, Doctor Strange, Hawkeye, Ghost Rider,
Jill.
Jill from Marvel?
Shumagorath.
Oh, no. Jill and Shumagorath were DLC for the original Marvel, for Marvel 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are two more Marvel characters that got added. Oh, Nova was one of them, and I can't remember who the last one was.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Yep.
Yeah. Great Netflix show. One of the best.
Yeah, our Lord and Savior, Scott Buck. Thanks for what you gave us.
Sorry.
Anyway, our next Rate the Chasers contender is going to be, well, they're in one of our games of the year.
Oh.
The Octoling from Splatoon.
Holy cow, I know those guys.
We all know those guys. We've all played the Splatoon series, and we all are big fans of them. But the question is, Octoling and Smash?
I forgot that Splatoon was one of those series that Kelly just kills at.
Yeah. Yeah, he kills in Splatoon, then he also kills with Robin.
In Smash, yep.
Splatoon in a good long while, and I feel like my skills have kind of rusted over. But
yeah,
Kelly,
I've played very minimal of the multiplayer for Splatoon 3.
It's all relative, right? It's always someone better than you.
Kelly plays video games like as well as how I thought I played video games when I was 7.
Yeah, yeah, that's accurate.
Whoa!
Yeah. It's like, I mean, it's like, I thought it was like, man, I'm pretty good at Smash, and then I played with all of our group, and it's like, all right, Kelly's better, and I don't like it.
You should see me play against my cousin. If you want to see me get smoked, then
it might make me feel better, but at the same time, also worse.
Knowing that there's someone better than Kelly actually makes me sad.
Sorry,
but at least I feel like Zantok and I would have a fair shot against Sakurai, who doesn't look like he plays his own game very well. So
the man plays with two characters
with two separate
hands. I don't know, man. I think he's gonna beat our ass.
Let's see. He hasn't shown his full form on video then.
Yeah, because anytime he's playing it on a video, he's also telling us about the characters. And as somebody who knows about the Let's Player curse, I know how awful that can be because you get distracted.
He's doing it casually.
Mm-hmm. So what if Toby Fox can play with him? Why can't we?
Because we don't live in Japan.
Does Toby Fox? I forgot all about that. Okay, let's go.
Sakurai went to his house, so I'm assuming.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's find that one wealthy American shareholder who bought out all the shares just to talk about F-Zero, and then just live at his place in Japan.
Yeah.
He'd be a cool guy to chill with for.
Yeah. But Octolings, yes.
Octolings. So here's the number one best thing you can say about Octoling. It's the most obvious Echo next to Alf in the entire world. Because, I mean, what the fuck?
I like that they're modeled after octopi.
They sure are.
And there's those suction cups, yeah.
It's like, personally,
and their hair.
I wish every Echo or clone adjacent character could be their own fully fledged character with differences. I would love that. Mm-hmm. But I also know that's not going to happen. But Octolings, well, again, they can easily be their own character. They can use different weaponry. They're also super easy to make an Echo, and I don't think it would necessarily be a detriment to their character. Unlike, say, if Dixie Kong became an Echo of Diddy Kong, I think that'd be a disservice to her character. Octoling, it would be okay. Be like, all right, this is fine. I wish you were more, but this is fine. And considering that the Inkling, as soon as Splatoon was shown off, really, we were all just like, you're in Smash. And then who was revealed first for Smash Ultimate? Inkling.
Yeah.
I think Octoling is an easy bet. If they're not in, I'll be shocked.
I agree. There's not a whole lot more to say than that, other than if they are not in their own character slot, I rather than them simply not being in, I think it might be because they're swapped out between Inkling. So you go Inkling, Octoling on character slot.
Getting the Alf treatment. I could see that as well.
It makes more sense than Alf getting the Alf treatment, and that already happened.
Yeah.
Which kind of annoys me. Yeah. A little too much. Obviously,
why do you think Alf was one of the first characters I made a moveset for on Smashtopia?
Just scratch an itch for injustice, or rather for justice. Yeah, I concur. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on Octolings. They're obviously would prefer to them to be their own thing. There's an arsenal of weapons that they can take control of that are not represented in Smash through the Inkling. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, KJ? I'm gonna call you that now.
KJ?
Yeah.
God, that'd be 3 KJs I know. No.
Better than KD. Yeah. The narrative that has evolved from Splatoon, from being Inklings versus Octolings to Octolings living in a more or less a utopian sort of civil society. I think that, yeah, Octolings are pretty much, I think they're guaranteed to be at the very least an alt. If you're arguing them for an echo of their own, I think it's a pretty good chance.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking percentage-wise, I was thinking about 50%. If they're either going to do it or they're not going to do it as an echo, but I can definitely see it absolutely alt at.
I feel it's extremely high for a percent. If we were talking about like full-fledged, like their own characters, like with completely unique moves, then my percent would be super low. Like I don't think they're not gonna have like a completely different specials than normals and whatnot. That's not happening. But even as an echo, I think it's extremely likely. The only other characters that I think would be like this high echo odds would be like Shadow the Hedgehog. But I'm gonna give him a 90% because I just think it's damn near guaranteed.
Agreed. And recalling the episode where I gave Tom Nook a 99%. And in hindsight, I feel like the Octoling is more likely than Tom Nook.
I mean, we can't give 100% ratings. That's our rule.
Correct. So, but with that in mind, I am going to say 99%.
Okay.
I'm in some way, shape, or form. I think they'll be playable. Like with as certain as you could possibly
not
be.
as alts. Like we're not counting as being an alt as their own character. Just so we clarify that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should revise my percentage then, because I think mine might be too low. I think I'll go with 88% because 8 is the number of legs that
There's no legs? There are legs?
that four Octolings have.
Octolings have okay, 4 Octolings. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you had to fucking save that one, didn't you? Jesus Christ.
I was about to say that you could just keep your percentage the same way. It's fine to have a dissenting opinion, but then you said 88, and it's like, okay, actually, no, let's keep that.
That was alt focus thing, but if we're going as a hard echo, then yeah, it's probably high.
Yeah.
Well played.
All right, so that's going to bring our average out to 92.33% chances of being playable. And honestly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That actually unseats the previous number 1 from last season. Speaking of Tom Nook, he got a 92% rating from us and whatever guest we had on that episode, because I don't remember. I think Ebit was on. Oh, was it Suju was on the Tom Nook episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's where we were like trying to say whether Tom Nook or Flick would be the next.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Octoling is now the number 1. But
Wait.
But can our next character top them? Yeah, probably not. It's Ephraim from Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones.
Yeah, he's not.
Okay. So here, like, Ephraim's biggest positive is he's a lance wielder. What is the number one? What are some of the biggest things people have said about Fire Emblem characters in Smash? Well, one, there's too many. Two, there's too many swords. Three, where's the spear user?
Mm-hmm.
He's a spear user. We can finally get a different kind of moveset. There is no primary lance wielder yet, especially or any kind of polearm. Okay, Byleth has one move that he just stole from Dimitri, but Ephraim would finally fill that slot. Unfortunately, the negative here is, again, we have a lot of Fire Emblem tricks, so unless we severely pare down, it's a hard sell. But also, he's an older Fire Emblem character, and we've only ever, with the exception of Marth, we've only ever gotten Fire Emblem characters from the most recent or upcoming game. Okay, also Chrom, but Chrom was also a weird situation. But every other character has been the most recent or upcoming game. And unless we're getting a remake of Sacred Stones, it don't look good.
And what a shame that is, given the rich history of the series, too. It's just another thing that shoots the series in the foot in terms of Smash representation.
Honestly, I think it's something that Smash has a problem just in general with some of the more recent games.
Pokemon, Fire Emblem.
Yeah, where we're just get like whatever is the newest things. Like, can we get more Legacy? Like, yes, great, thank you for giving us King K. Rool and Ridley. But we could also get Legacy from Fire Emblem or Legacy from Pokemon. We don't have any Pokemon from Gen 3 or Gen 5.
Which is crazy, because those are two of the most celebrated gens. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, both those Pokemon and Fire Emblem, they're so diverse in their roster that you might as well make their own specific, or cater to them, their own fighting games.
Like, I mean, Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, but I mean, even bigger.
Or better.
Yeah.
Or better.
Yeah.
Or worse. You never know.
It's like you mentioned, like we have Pokken Tournament, we have Pokemon Unite, and then Fire Emblem has the two Fire Emblem Warriors games. Well, only one of them was a crossover, but Warriors has an issue with representing really only 3 games and a couple leftovers, and then Pokken has a odd roster. Why is Pikachu Libre there? What? You have Hawlucha! You have a literal luchador bird! Why are you adding Pikachu Lucha?
Think of the children.
Think of the children. Please. For once.
Yeah.
But no, I do agree that Pokemon and Fire Emblem could easily get their own fighting game. Mario could even. Zelda could. It's just a shame that we only seem to be getting, like, whatever is the new hotness for these series into Smash. Like, there's still some good shit that you passed over. Give it.
Yeah.
If DLC wasn't 90% third party, I think we would get some of these legacy characters. But unfortunately, like, I love the characters that we're getting, but unfortunately, it comes with the cost of getting some legacy Nintendo characters.
It's hard enough to get freaking Waluigi. I mean, or Paper Mario, for that matter. Thank God we have Piranha Plant. There's a legacy character.
Yeah, technically, you're right.
Technically.
Yeah. Ephraim, though, he's an older character from an older game. I probably my personal favorite of the Lance Lords in Fire Emblem, although there are slim pickings. Sacred Stones was a good game. I wouldn't be against a remake, although I also wouldn't be against a remake of every other Fire Emblem that there are rumors swirling about being remade. Like, if the Radiant games were remade, that would be a big middle finger to all of the GameCube scalpers. So that would be nice. It's it's bad. But and you know, on a personal note, I mean, what are we gonna get otherwise? Bandanity? Yes. Yeah, I don't think his chances are very high. I mean, he has a renewed fan base, I think, because of Heroes, but so does literally every other character.
Yeah.
Like, so does Rise. Rise has a renewed fan base because of Fire Emblem Heroes. So,
Who?
from Shadow Dragon, the cleric.
Reese?
Reese?
Reese, if that's how you call it. Yeah.
Not sure how it's pronounced, but I always went Reese.
I thought.
Maybe
Oh
it's
wait,
right.
are you talking about the old man?
Yeah.
Oh, I call him Riss.
3 different.
I don't know. man.
Reese? I thought no. Reese is the one from Ike's games. He's that cleric.
Yes, he is.
No, it's funny. It's weird because Riss is like a fucking a supporting role in the Heroes manga or whatever. Like he's in so many of the issues. He's a joke. Like they have
Like-
one where it's like Lissa is sad, or it's either Lissa or Sharina. Probably Sharina, because people keep on throwing away their wrist duplicates. It's like, oh man, she really feels for him.
Speaking of spear wielders, I mean, I guess they can go Sheeta because there's such a high prevalence or preference for.
They could go
Shadow Dragon
Tsubasa
and-
from the crossover with Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, or even Fjorm
Yeah,
if they really wanted to. Which I mean, for my own personal FX, I mean it's a one-off ish mobile character, so no, but they could. Yeah, but as an individual character, I don't think his chances are very high.
no.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem is that with Sacred Stones, it's like the Pokemon problem, right? In this case, it's so it's like two paths that are so delicately intertwined. You can't have one without the other. Erica and Ephraim is so like that's the whole game. It's either A or B, and having one would just leave a bad taste to some degree. Like that's the thing.
Nope.
Like put in either one without, and it just can't happen. So
I wouldn't be against a tag team character of Erica and Ephraim, but I just don't think they're there yet. Like that's like how we got Pyra and Mithra instead of Pyra and Mithra and Rex per se.
Here's my counterpoint to that, because like we kind of had that with Byleth, because like okay, Byleth represents all three of the house leaders, so you don't have to do just one of the three story paths. But then you look at Incineroar, only one of the starters. You look at Greninja, only one of the starters. But then even to compound more on that, Byleth is promoting the new shit. If they were to include Ephraim or Erica, it would be going to an older game that they're not promoting, unless again, we're getting a remake. I don't know if it's as big as a question with that being the case.
And then you may
if
consider
they're going
that,
for purely just like grabbing a legacy. I don't. To me, I don't see that being a barrier.
and then you might consider that Engage, the upcoming Fire Emblem game on the Switch, may
It's only
have Erica.
choosing, and Engage is only having one character per each game. Technically, one game is being left out to dry. New Mystery of the Emblem is not being included. It has the exact same roster as Shadow Dragon, but still.
Yeah, they could throw in Chris if they really wanted to. or Jagan. What a guy. He's going to be our spear wielding character.
It probably would have been either Sita or Chris.
like, are there any core lords that are spear wielders that don't have mounts other than Dimitri?
That don't have
Xander.
mounts?
Yeah, that aren't like
Lords. I was thinking just literally. No, Xander has a mount. Ryoma does not have a mount.
Oh, yeah.
spear wielders.
Oh, spear wielders, yeah. No, the only spear wielders are Ephraim, Dimitri, and Sigurd.
Sigurd, right?
And Sita, but Sita's technically not a lord.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
And going back to I understand where you're coming from with the Pokemon thing, but that in itself is more like you pick one of the three starters and that's your partner for the game, and that in itself is between already existing X or Y. Pun not intended. So either I don't know. It's hard to say because it's not like you have a game that's thematically one thing is happening while the other is, and then you're either seeing one side or the other versus a partner, which is just kind of affects maybe how you affect gym leaders and stuff like that. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I think
wouldn't. Be...
I think the main reason that Ephraim could get in is if Sakurai is specifically looking to add a lance wielder, in which case I think he is the pick.
Mhm.
If he was wanting to specifically get like an axe wielder, that's probably Hector.
Yeah.
Who are the other big name axe wielding lords? It's Hector, Edelgard, and Camilla.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going for a bow, it's probably Lin, or outside a shot of Takumi, I guess, or Claude.
Oh,
Actually,
please, God, no, not Takumi. God.
but his final smash could be 2 Takumis.
That's the Warriors thing again, where it's just like, did we
Whoa.
all you Fates people in here?
Yeah, like one of the big things I will give some credit to Fates was that it's granted it has a lot of lords. Is that there is variety in the weapons. You got your sword, but you also have a lance lord. You have an axe lord. You have bows. You have 2 fucking healers. It's like thank you for it not just being swords.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
where's
that's
my
the Corrin
brawling?
is one of the most interesting movesets in Smash.
Yeah.
As from a Fire Emblem perspective, at the very least.
Like I hated I hated that he got included, but I love how he plays.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, and cheers to Fates too for screwing up what is her Azura, not Azura. Her potential so much, because we could have been talking about another spear wielder.
Oh,
yeah,
that would have worked. Right, yeah.
So before I watched Fates, I thought she was going to be like such a bigger part of the game, and to a degree she is, but not what I was thinking she was. It's like, man, if you had a bigger presence, I would be lobbying for you to be playable.
Yeah, Water Lancer Dancer. Okay,
It sounds really good.
Pulls off pretty nice.
Yeah. I wish. I've not been a huge fan of the Avatar route that they've been taking since Awakening for that reason. Robin is fine. Robin's
Imagine
good,
if Azura was the main character instead of Corrin.
Who?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're joking.
Which Zero?
Azura.
Oh, oh no.
It's like, imagine that your lord is a dance unit. Craziness.
That'd be it'd be like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but without like the Persona stuff. It'd be like kind of like you're a traveling dancer troupe that gets swept up in a national crisis or something. That'd be really cool.
But will they have English voice acting for the songs?
I don't know if we really want that.
They don't in Tokyo Mirage. Listen, they don't in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. And yes, I'm not a music person, but I also want to understand what is being said in the game without having to read the game.
Are there captions? Is that the reading that you're talking about?
Yes, there are captions at least. But it's like if I'm going to read a game, I'll play a visual novel or a game that doesn't have voice acting. You have voice acting, but only in one language. Why?
I don't know. That tends to be. I think it's such a niche area. That most of the
the game was not expected to do well. I don't think so. They didn't think they didn't want to bother, which I understand. But.
Yeah. So most of the fans that partook probably are of the, they're sub oneers essentially.
That said,
so Ephraim percentages.
Ephraim percentages. When it comes to the older Fire Emblem characters, Ephraim is probably who I want to see the most. Largely based off of the Lance thing. 100% because of the Lance, because I haven't watched Sacred Stones be played. So it's purely the Lance for me, in all honesty. Outside of that, it'd be Tiki. But, the odds of it is just really low. There's that little outside chance of like the Sakurai wildcardness, because sometimes he gives us these kind of weird ones. But I don't think it's great. I don't think it's 10%. I'm going to go 8. I think 8's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, Sakurai does love Fire Emblem, and that could factor into it. Let's add in a random character. How about Ephraim?
Yeah. Especially if they do cut down on the roster a bit. Like, cut out Chrom, cut out Lucina, cut out Roy, cut out the extra Marth characters. Okay, now we can add some more unique Fire Emblem characters.
If you cut out those 3 and added in 3,
Add
then
in
there you go.
Ephraim, add in Lynn, and then
Anything. Celica, Micaiah. Yeah.
Micaiah. Give me a
Diki.
light magic.
Nurgle. That's never gonna happen, I wish. Leon.
Medeus.
Yeah. Another character I made a moveset for in Smashtopia. He and Nurgle. Good times.
This just really makes you want, I don't know, its own dedicated Fire Emblem fighting game.
Yeah. But Dan
Yeah.
did or Dev Dan?
They have ults of each other.
Fair.
They could probably even introduce a third if they were getting zesty. Oh man, what a character. There is the lens user I'm going to go for, Devden.
I'll go for Donald.
Yeah,
Yeah, Villager would be cool.
Gatekeeper.
You already mentioned him. Move on.
Yeah, what a guy. Great character.
Because Fire Emblem 8.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, there's
Yeah.
3 gatekeepers. Because there's
True.
the gatekeeper, then there's the abyss keeper for the abyss, but then there's gatekeeper, who is the twin brother of gatekeeper, and is only there during the Edelgard route, because original gatekeeper is went to be with the Knights of Saros, and his brother's like, nope, I'm Team Edelgard. It's like, man, we're really civil warring this, huh? All right. I don't think
Right
we
down to
needed
the
this
bone.
kind of lore that the gatekeeper has a
Mhm.
twin brother who is also a gatekeeper, but all right.
And then meanwhile you have Eloise who's just like, yeah, you're Gerald's friend.
Yeah,
I'll
Gerald's
side with
kid.
you.
Fuck the church. I'm gonna be with my friend's kid. It's like, all right.
Yep. Honorable, truly.
I mean, the
Ephraim
teachers do the
has-
same thing. They're just like, fuck the church. We're gonna go with this other professor guy that we only have known for a month.
Yep. Speaking of Ephraim and the power of 8, if there were 4 Ephraims, they would have collectively 8 legs, and therefore I will also say 8%.
If there were 16 legs, wouldn't they?
4 Ephraims would be 8 legs. No, yeah. That's what he
But
said.
if the 4 Ephraims that I mentioned and the 4 Ephraims that you're thinking of came together, they would have 16
But
legs.
if it was 4 Ephraims riding on top of 4 Erikas on 4 Mokugens.
That would be 24 legs. Wow.
They know how to use them.
They sure do.
They got legs. Sorry, that's a dumb joke.
Oh boy, not as bad as
Man,
last
with
week.
Jonno on this show, there is no end of bad jokes.
We just fuel each other.
Jonno himself simply exists, and
Is a
there's
bad, joke. Yeah.
Yeah, we do feed off of each other pretty well.
All
It's-
right,
it's
so
the jelly in
Kelly,
your
what
blood.
is your score for Ephraim?
I think he said 8%.
I think we're waiting on Jonno.
No,
Sorry.
Jonno said 8.
You said 8?
So did,
Yeah.
so did Kelly.
Oh, were you saying I didn't know if that's what you were saying 8 because
I said 8% because Sacred Stones is the 8th game. Yeah.
okay. Well, that puts Ephraim at a resounding 8%
Great.
total. Next up,
We get Amelia instead. Anyway, what?
Next up, we're getting Amelia Bedelia as our next breakthrough
Oh.
chance stuff. No, it's actually a character that's
99%.
slightly more likely. Chell from Portal. And when I say slightly more likely, I'm not joking, because it's not happening. We're never going to get a Valve character. It's just not going to happen. Would Chell be amazing? Fuck yes. Give me the Portal gun. That'd be... What, we're going to break so many physics in Smash. Sakurai is going to have just as much of a hell time programming her as he did Steve. I would
Yeah.
love it. I would absolutely love it, but it's never fucking happening. Jonno.
I think it's about as likely as Valve's next game releasing this year or next year.
Yeah, they're gonna release a game in 2 weeks. Yeah, absolutely. It's Half-Life Alyx
Imagine
2 Chapter 1.
Imagine that actually happens and we have to eat our words. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, Valve certainly has a legacy. Chell is topmost among them. Portal, epic title series. And Kelly, I mean, we talked about Chell for the KellyJelly special Smasher Dash last season, and Chell made it a good, fair ways into the Tournament of Champions 3 as well. We certainly think highly of her, and unfortunately, this is not a do we think highly of this character? It's what do we think of their realistic chances? Coming from a Western company, let alone one that doesn't have a lot of modern output, keeps your chances low, unfortunately, in my mind as well. And you know, there's that outside competition where you have the Heavy or other TFT characters or Gordon Freeman, but I think she's head and shoulders above them at the very least. But just not high in the grand scope of gaming.
Well said.
Mm-hmm. And you, my dear friend.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Chell and Portal as a series have so much going for it. They have so much, like, if you compare it to Half-Life, Half-Life is such a great, like, powerful, long-standing series in its own right, but I think Portal has a lot of, like, I don't want to say memery going on, but, you know, cake is a lie, anything that we said. So much of it has been so prevalent throughout, like, the decade, and even bleeding into other games that you wouldn't expect them to be, Lego Dimensions, the Talos Principle, so much of it, and still getting Portal games, like even just tiny games to this day. But as for realistically, it's not very likely. Like I've heard, as far as Western games go, Portal is pretty popular in Japan, from what I've heard. Like it's got a pretty good following, at least for as big of a I don't want to say small either, and insult it's, you know, Portal 2, pretty big as a game, but it's Valve. Valve is always the be all end all. Like the wall. Look at, like, how can I climb over? I don't know. It's very unlikely. It's never happening.
Isn't it only made of freight containers?
Why climb over wall when you can use Portal though?
Good point.
Good question. Well, let's portal our way right into Smash 6, why don't we?
Because it's not going to happen. It's unfortunate, because I would love to see Chell be playable in Smash. She would be... Whether you are good as her or not, she would be just fun to mess around with. Give her the portal gun, let her aim it omnidirectionally, and just have all kinds of fucking shenanigans. You can make a whole new game mode just purely based on, like, 2 or 3 people playing as Chell and doing weird shit with the portals.
You've seen what people do in the current Ultimate Stage Maker with those little teleporters.
Yeah.
The havoc that people can do already. Now imagine that as a portable portal launcher.
Yes.
And imagine that because of that mechanic that already exists within Ultimate, that Sakura is just like, wow, this reminds me of Portal. Let's put Chell in.
That's like
I mean, it's like, it's something that they could have. It's like, here's how we're gonna build her off of this mechanic we already exist. Okay, let's take the code and let's see how we can apply it to a character. That's not a bad way to try and start building her, but it involves them going to Valve and seeking Chell out. Which, if you're going to go to Valve, Chell's who you're going for. After her, it's probably the Heavy, but past that, it's not gonna be Bill. I don't think it's Gordon Freeman. Do they have other games? I think it's just those.
Like, not to be like the stickler for what can and can't get in, but like, you know, most of Valve's other games are shooter games, and pretty much every character uses guns in some capacity. And if you took that away, it'd be hard to make an argument for them. With Chell, you know, science stuff, and I'd like to think that Valve is pretty lenient with their IPs. They're like, oh, we'd love to see. I don't know if Gabe Newell ever went on record saying like, "Oh, I'd love to see Valve get into Smash" or something like that. That may be a quote somewhere. I'm not sure, but there you go.
I mean, just about every company, I'm sure, would love to see their characters in, because it's the best way to promote your game. Period. Get in Smash and you've got promotion for life.
If Sakurai asked them, they would definitely say yes. It's just the question of Sakurai giving it the attention.
Yeah.
Right.
And Nintendo as well.
And as far as like shooter characters are concerned, like I agree, it is very hard to make shooter character movesets. It's like once you've made one, you've made most of them. There's a few. It's like there's a little bit difference. Like I honestly think the heavy would be different enough with his sheer personality, and the fact that he has like the fucking giant ass minigun. Like, okay, most gun characters aren't using minigun, and obviously, yes, you two are both mentioning the sandwiches. I was gonna get there. And then I know he has some other guns. I just can't think of what they are offhand. Between minigun and sandwich, just like alone, that's the start of okay. You can build something unique from that. But like Bill from Left 4 Dead, like unless you're gonna have him push a zombie at somebody like Jill does in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, then there's not a lot to build for Bill or any of the characters from those games. Chell.
Yeah.
There's the best chance. But even then, the chances are shit. And I'm going 3%.
when you consider the soldier type characters, it's like even a Resident Evil character, and you consider the majority of their weapons in the titles, it's like, what have we not already accomplished with Snake?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And it's why maybe like a series like Call of Duty, you could say, oh, let's put in Soap or Ghost or whatever. It's like, but why? What are you going to do? Yeah, exactly. And to Chell's credit too, I think she's by far the most interesting Valve option. And as far as like outside shot Western games are concerned, I'm really far more interested in her than I would be in like Tracer or whatever. Although that would also be kind of cool. Although Blizzard. 3% is fair. I think I'm just going to go with what Chell's favorite number is per the canon, which is 8%. Just kidding. I'll go 4%.
Okay, if we start doing more 8s tonight, it's starting to remind me of a meme and a friend group of mine.
Yeah. Crazy 8 Kelly. Let's go for it. Roll the dice.
I'm just sitting
on 8.
I'm just sitting here thinking, are we even allowed to count to 3%? You know what? Is 2.9 an option?
Unfortunately, no. Decimals are not an option. We have 3 rules. You can't give a less than 1%. You can't give more than 99%, and you can't give a decimal. Those are the 3 rules.
So we're on everything up to ultimate's damage percentage, but not ultimate itself when it comes to no decimals.
Yes.
Alrighty then. Then yeah, I'll throw her a bone and say 5%. You know, not going any higher than that, but that's why we love her.
5.
She's an underdog.
All right. That'll average her out to a 4% chance, which, yeah, it's sad, but yeah. That said, Smash 6 is going to announce one day, and the opening trailer is going to have Chill, and I'm just going to go like, all right, I got to go buy a hat so I can eat it, because what the fuck?
I'm just going to say hell yeah.
At the
beginning, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, John, go ahead. You finish.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Kelly.
I was just joking about the fact, like, what if like the reveal trailer could just be Mega Man and Rob in place replacing Atlas and Peabody, just going through a bunch of test chambers.
Ooh.
Then Shell bursts through. It's like, I'm here.
It's like oh.
And Chell's the very first newcomer revealed for Smash 6.
The first newcomer revealed. And everybody's just confused because it's also the only newcomer revealed in the announcement. It's like, what?
It would be like to start off like, it's new. Wait, what? No way. Like, it would have or like the whole internet talks about it, and then cake is a lie, cake is a lie. Like, it's have the inklings of a newcomer, but
we'll fit the inklings in there somewhere too.
Then there's a post-credit scene for the trailer, and you just hear GLaDOS like, "Oh dear, here we go again."
Yeah, something in that line.
Part of the fighting sizzle reel for Chell's reveal will be, as the ceremonial first character reveal, will be her shooting a portal towards the Waluigi assist trophy to deconfirm Waluigi.
In the very first reveal.
Get it right off the bat.
It's like, get out!
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he falls off the stage, and
You know, companion cube's got to be like either a taunt or a victory animation or something. It's got to be in there.
Yeah. Although it's a fake out because we're actually getting bus driver Waluigi as a playable character.
Oh, with his checkered tie and.
Yep. Yeah. What a well-dressed guy.
God.
Everybody's crazy about the sharp-dressed man. Wow, 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 wow.
Oh my god. I can tell you with certainty I never expected to hear that in my life. That was great.
Waluigi ZZ.
What if we got a rendition of the intro to this podcast, but it's Waluigi Waz?
Oh man,
We're talking to our composer.
I know.
don't expect it.
Actually,
Yeah, one of these is.
remember that idea because I have thoughts.
Oh my god.
Moving on to the last character on our rate their chances because we gotta get through these.
We're going a little long, yeah.
Samurai Goro from F-Zero.
Oh, holy cow.
F-Zero has like no attention in Smash. We've had Captain Falcon, and he's on life support, and that life support is Smash. And then we have one assist trophy, which is Samurai Goro. And that's it. Some stages. But that's it. The odds of getting any more F-Zero characters, period, is pretty low. Truthfully, Black Shadow might be the most likely, because he can be an echo of Captain Falcon, or you could also do that for, like, Blood Falcon, or, I guess, Rick Wheeler.
Rick Wheeler.
Yeah. But Samurai Goro, like, if you're going for, like, somebody that would be, like, not an echo, I feel like Samurai Goro probably has the best chances of those, but even then, they're not great. The only reason I could see us getting a new F-Zero character is we magically get a new F-Zero game, or, again, that Sakurai wildcard factor that gives us Ice Climbers, Duck Hunt, Rob, Piranha Plant. Samurai Goro is the next WTF character, maybe?
Yeah, I concur. Things going in Goro's favor as far as the scope of F-Zero goes. He's canonically, per the lore, an ex-coworker of Captain Falcon's in the Bounty Hunter League.
They were cops together.
Yeah, once upon a time. And then they kind of went their own separate ways and ran the course and whatever. He was the first assist trophy revealed in Brawl, so there's a little bit of a precedent there. He's one of the first characters in what?
We were talking about deconfirming Waluigi right away with Chell's trailer. Samurai Goro, the original assist trophy, deconfirming Waluigi.
That makes me sad and mildly amused at the same time. Oh no.
He was the first what? Sorry, Jonno?
Oh, he was among the first characters introduced in the F-Zero series. He was like one of 4 playable characters.
Yeah, him, Pico, Dr. Stewart, and Captain Falcon.
Yes.
So he's could be seen in a racing game where no one's really a main character besides Captain Falcon. He could be seen as one of the main characters of F-Zero. Yeah. Imagine getting Black Shadow, and everybody's prevalent theory is that Ganondorf will be decloned and you'll get Black Shadow having the Ganondorf kit. Imagine getting Black Shadow and he's very similar to how Ganondorf has played so far in Smash, and then you keep Ganondorf the same too, and then you just have both of them.
Imagine you get Black Shadow and he plays like Marth.
Imagine you get Black Shadow and then he plays like Ocarina of Time Ganondorf. and Ganondorf just plays like Captain Falcon.
Black Shadow gets magic before Ganon does.
Yeah, like Black Shadow, you're like, and his standard special is Dead Man's Volley. Wouldn't that be the day? Yeah, his chances aren't great, but I'll say this: I think that his chances are concurrently better than Shell's reference.
Yeah, I have to agree.
It's so strange. It's a niche. It's like a cult choice. It's a retro choice at this point. But it could happen. Doesn't have a great shot, but it could happen.
Yeah.
going back to the Melee production opening where he's the one that's racing against Captain Falcon. So he's had a few little nudges, even as far back as Melee.
I mean, of all the, not counting all the Pokemon, of all the characters in the Melee intro that weren't playable in Melee, he's the only one left. Because Ridley and Wolf have both gotten in, so come on, Goro.
I would like for Goro to be playable just for that reason.
He's kept us waiting.
Yeah, huh? Although I would prefer the other samurai who's a Sistrovi currently to be playable, but I will take Goro.
Gray Fox?
Takamaru, Gray Fox. No, I would say Gray Fox's chances have been squashed.
Yeah.
Ah,
if he ever had any.
Yeah, Kelly?
You asking me like percentage?
No, not yet. Any other thoughts you had first?
I think it'd be interesting because it's more like not really like I want to see him, but rather how would they make him work? Because right now, as you've seen from his assist trophy, he's less graceful and precise Takamaru or Gray Fox, and he's more like, is this your first time using a katana, dude? He just lumbers around, overhand slash back and forth. I
mean, at the same time, I like that. All the other sword fighters that we have are refined sword fighters. Like, they are top of their skill, their grace, their finesse. But then you gotta throw in Samaguro, and he's just fucking Wolverine. He's Wolverining this shit. Like, I made a moveset for him earlier this year, and I directly used, part of how Wolverine works in the Marvel's Capcom games. I used him that as reference. I basically gave him Berserker Barrage as one of his specials. It's like, I see this happening if he was playable.
His machine is called the Red Stingray, I think. Did you have a move called
Fire Stingray? I have Stingray. Oh fuck, what's it called exactly? I want to make sure I get this right because I actually screwed it up when I was originally writing it. I thought it was a scorpion, so I was giving him like a scorpion move, and it's gonna have like a poison effect, and I realized like, oh shit, it's not a scorpion, it's a Stingray. Oh no, I have to rewrite this.
So yeah, there you go. You can take influence from machine, from his. It's more of a curiosity.
I gave it a Stingray Stinger is what I called it. It's basically his version of Falcon Punch, but with his sword instead. And like he kind of does like that overhead stab kind of motion.
Okay, neato.
Yeah. And like Berserker Barrage is his side special. Samu Slicer was his up. Bushido's Wrath was his down. And then his final smash, he just literally crashes into people with the Fire Stingray. Like, unlike, how the Blue Falcon just like hits people and brings them into cinematic, he just like crashes down and then goes back up.
He just lands.
Yeah.
Dang. No.
Yeah, his reveal is a repeat of that Melee race, but he pushes Captain Falcon over the Legend Stead, and Captain Falcon lands on the Waluigi Assist Trophy.
Wow. Guess I'll get my chance another day.
Oh god. Yeah, Waluigi appears in Robin's Final Smash. My god.
But
there you go.
Yeah, it's like Samaguro, it'd be great. He was the very first assist trophy revealed, and there were people that thought he was playable with the reveal because assist trophies was a brand new concept at the time. And I think that's part of what got him a lot of attention was that. But then people kind of stopped talking about him after Brawl. People now, Black Shadow is the only F-Zero character that I see being talked about as far as like having chances of being playable. But Samaguro, again, kind of like with Ephraim, I think he only gets in on the Samurai wildcard factor. That said, I think he has better chances than Ephraim because he doesn't have all of Fire Emblem's various lords to consider. And there's really not that many F-Zero characters that I think have a legitimate chance of being looked at in a serious manner. So, might be a little generous, but it's wildcard factor here. 15%?
That seems fair.
That does seem fair. I think besides Daisengen, Biorex, Phoenix and QQQ, and
Not
Mr.
gonna lie,
EAD.
Biorex would also be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Mighty Gazelle mains, where you at?
Super Arrow, the Skull,
The skull.
Deathborn.
Yeah.
Deathborn. Oh my goodness.
Jody
I don't think any
Summer.
character. There
F-Zero
you go.
game.
I don't think any character defines the edge that I thought I had in childhood better than Deathborn, besides maybe Shadow the Hedgehog.
Ow.
Nothing personnel, kid. Anyway, I'll go 12%.
All right, Kelly.
Yeah, I think 12% seems pretty good.
Okay, well that's going to bring us down to 13% chances for Samurai Goro, which fair. Yeah, I believe it.
Goro.
If Samurai Goro were playable, he can have a play on his name, be one of his taunts. He'd be like, "Go row yourself."
He wears a GoPro into battle.
There you go. GoPro, go row. Go
Like-
row with the GoPro.
Go with the-
That almost sounds like
It's
a rap.
tempting to go edit his page right now. Just to
I
say
mean-
like go row yourself. It's like, oh, that's actually really good. Honestly, I like that.
Go row yourself. I mean, it's American-esque, but then again, the way that he wields his katana is also how I would expect most Americans to wield a katana. So
Yeah, that's accurate. Like Sakurai would never put the words "go row yourself" in Smash, but we ain't Sakurai, are we?
no, Sakurai wouldn't have any clue what was going on since it's a portmanteau of the English. But yeah.
All right. That said, Race to Chances is over, and now we can get to what the episode is actually supposed to be about. Smasher Dash! Like we always do whenever we have Kelly on one of these episodes, we picked out 4 characters that he has made movesets out of on the Smashtopia Wiki, largely because he's the only person besides us that puts content on the Smashtopia Wiki. So thank you, once again, for doing that. That nobody else...
So we have to pay tribute to you in this way.
I mean, we don't have to, but we do. Anyways, our first matchup tonight is going to be 2 retro arcade titans. We have Dig Dug, otherwise known as Taizo Hori,
Mhm.
or George, Lizzie, and Ralph from Rampage.
Oh, buddy.
So, who wants to talk about Dig Dug?
Who wants? Oh, I think Kelly pointed at me, so
Go for it.
Okay. That sounds fair to me. Dig Dug, you dig him? I dug him. Anyway, classic Namco game. Arguably, it's up there with Galaga, Pac-Man. I pretty much pole position in that classic. It's like if you own one Namco museum, you're gonna play this game. Or if you go walk into a retro arcade, you're going to play this game. It's an ubiquitous. It's nearly as ubiquitous as Pac-Man, I think. Just the early '80s arcade boom. Dig Dug was a major factor. Also known as Taizo Hori, who is the father to what's his name, Susumu Hori, Mr. Driller.
Yeah, Mr. Driller.
And apparently in Dig Dug Dig Strike, the plot of the title on the DS is essentially like Mr. Driller's been getting too much attention, and I would like to take some away from my son because I'm jealous. So let's play this game.
Yeah.
So there's a
Such
little bit of a
great premise.
Good bonding.
yeah.
It's like you're calling for my son to save the world. I saved the world first. It's like, who are you? Fuck you. I'm going. Where is this at? No. What? Who are you though? Actually.
You'd think that parents would be proud of their children when they surpass them finally, but Taizo ain't having it.
I mean,
What's funny?
It'd be like if Iron Man's kid became famous and then nobody remembered who Iron Man was. I'd be upset if I was him. It's like, hey, I saved the world too. Like, yeah, they're doing good, but I did things too. Come on.
That would definitely be an Iron Man plot point. Taizo, though, I think that actually is kind of a plus in his direction, though, because you have this unintended burst of personality you can kind of get into.
You can be a little sassy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're digging underground using your pin harpoon pump to blow up dragons and pukas, and you clear them out of the area and you move on. That's totally the kind of premise that you can do for like a B-rate movie action thriller starring The Rock as Taizo Hori. But actually I think that there is a movie like that for Rampage. So
I finally.
Yeah. So how about George, Lizzie, and Ralph? Somebody.
So, George, Lizzie, and Ralph, the three monsters from the Rampage series. There are, other monsters, but they only really appear in a couple of the games, such as, like, that are on the GameCube and then a port on the Wii. But George, Lizzie, and Ralph, it's a giant gorilla, it's a giant lizard, and it's a giant wolf, man. And they're pissed! They're on a rampage, they're destroying the city! Whether it's Peoria, Illinois, or some other city, there's a lot of them that they destroy. It's...
Base.
There's a fuck ton of them. But the game loops pretty simple. There's some cars on the ground that you can stomp over. Sometimes the military will come in and try and shoot you. But the main thing that you're doing is you're climbing up and down buildings, punching them, smashing their windows, taking people out of the windows, and then eating them because, you need a snack every now and then. You wouldn't want to rampage when you're hungry. And it's just like causing chaos and just watching buildings fall to the ground destroyed. It's pretty simple to that. Other games have given like a little bit of story and lore to like why these people, because like they are people, they just got mutated into these giant forms, and it typically has to do with some company with like Scum Labs is like often who is involved, whether it's like bathing in like a radioactive lake or it's atomic juice or whatever the fuck.
It changes up.
Yeah, it pretty much changes with each game, but it's when there is a story, Scum Labs is typically involved. But beyond that, it's pretty simple gameplay. It's more simple than Dug, really. There's no like canon storyline. I don't think there's no like timeline in between each game, unlike the Dig Dugs. But they just cause mayhem around the world, the universe, total destruction all over the place.
Total destruction. What more do you need? It's very cathartic in a way.
I mean, honestly, it is. I fucking loved playing it on like Flash Player back in the day.
Oh,
yeah, just the visceral mentality of this Monster Squad, I think, is the best thing they have going for them.
Yeah.
And it's a quality that I really enjoyed from playing the game growing up too, and similar games too, like Splatterhouse, kind of evoked that same feeling. Okay. Yeah.
Rick.
So with those intros out of the way, what do we think about either of these characters and like what they could bring to Smash, either just like in general or like in comparison to each other? Because the thing that comes to mind for me immediately is Dig Dug has a lot more tools at his disposal that you can pull from, whereas the Rampage crew is literally just like, okay, they're gonna destroy shit, and that's pretty simple. Whether it's just like a basic punch attack, or if they just like slam a police car down or something. You'd have to. I think you gotta get a lot more creative. I think with Rampage.
Yeah, you gotta differentiate them between. They have to be exaggerated. Like you have Donkey Kong already, who's a giant ape.
Yeah.
Or not giant. You have George, who's a mutant, pissed off, destructive ape. You have Bowser. Then you have Lizzie. You have Wolf. Well, I guess Wolf doesn't really work, does it?
Yeah.
Wolf has a gun and one doesn't.
It'd be more. It's more compared to like Lucario, I guess.
Blaster. Yeah, that's right. You kind of have to lean on their destructive, chaotic sides.
Yeah.
I think to let them shine through.
Like very exaggerated motions and facial expressions, and just like really like in one of the videos with animations, he talked about like how they'll push the characters' bodies past the fucking line. So I feel like you'd really have to just like stretch things with these guys, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but you have to stretch your limits with them in order to really make the Rampage characters.
And it's great because sorry, John.
No, go ahead. It's all right.
I'd say that specifically Rampage World Tour has a lot of that kind of goofballiness where like you can punch each other in the crotch and they'll be like, ow, ow. You can kind of like fall off buildings and they'll go, whoa. Like they'll have that kind of cartooniness to them. So they're not super.
Sounds like our pre-show.
I mean, I think Sakurai easily would lead into the comedy with them. Almost Looney Tunes or Animaniacs-esque.
So it doesn't get too much like, oh my god, these are scary monsters. It's like, not really. They're just having a blast, just destroying everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As for Dick,
As for Dig Dug,
As for Dig Dug, I mean, again, like he's got the pump. He can throw a harpoon at somebody. I don't know if they want to animate every single character roster being inflated. I think that might be a little difficult getting that to everybody, but it can at least use like something like pumping air and damaging them. He could bring out like a little Puka or a Fygar to do an attack for him. I think in the moveset you made for him, his up special was actually just like his movement from the original game, where he could just like have kind of like this odd, free, not quite free movement, because you still have to like it's very D-pad. You can't like diagonal or have like a free spin or whatever. But that would be wild to see in there. And then they could probably pull shit from from Mr. Driller too.
Jonno?
I almost thought you were gonna say Dr. Dre.
I almost said Dr. Driller. I was like, that's not right.
Just about. They gotta call you Dr. Mario or something. Let's see here. That movie looks better than I thought it would. As far as again, I think to your earlier point about George, Lizzie, and Ralph and the exaggerated movements and whatnot, I think that's to be expected out of Sakurai and Smash, so I don't think that'll be an issue. Like if they can do it with Kazuya's ribcage, they're definitely going to do it with the Rampage characters. And as far as Dig Dug goes, it's you're kind of looking at this dichotomy here, where George, Lizzie, and Ralph are very straightforward characters, and what you're leaning into with their moveset isn't necessarily what you'll be enjoying the most out of it isn't like the technicality of the moveset, because it's very straightforward, almost in a way that Smash hasn't been since Melee. But that, first of all, that could be nostalgic for some people, let alone the characters in general. And there's just something about a character that's heavy hitting and visceral in that sense that's very satisfying, like landing a good hit with Bowser or Donkey Kong, or unleashing that Doria. I mean, nothing quite like that. Yeah.
Feels
See,
good.
on the off chance I can land that hit, that's how I win against Kelly every so often in Smash games.
It'll happen.
Just spam it. Whereas Dig Dug is a more technical character, and not to the extent of, say, Shulk, right? He's not really a technical character, but it stands more in line with you can it's more of a technical game. There's more that you can do per se in Dig Dug. With the movement being a little more like maze-like or snake-like, and pulling in the excavation drill or the trademark harpoon pump or jackhammer, as Kelly has in the moveset here. It's more in line with what you might expect out of a more modern Smash character.
Yeah.
Without pushing too hard on the gimmicks.
Right.
Like Taizo meter that Kelly wrote down here, that influences the direction of the activation of his up special. I'm down with that. That's fine by me.
I mean, it's kind of similar to just like Rob's his fuel tank for his up special in a way.
Yeah,
It's a fuel tank for his up special.
I just didn't want to like another tether because that's too simple.
Yeah. Every time I have to give either a tether, a counter, or a teleport to a character, I die a little inside.
Mm-hmm.
Got my
I think it's actually less. I think we might be able to even view it from the lens of Dig Dug not necessarily being more technical per se, but it's just kind of simple versus simplest in a way.
Simple versus
It's the Rampage. Dig Dug would be like a Brawl or Smash 4 era character. Rampage would be a Smash 64 Melee era character in terms of how they work. Because 64 Melee, practically no gimmicks. Very few. Smash 4 and Ultimate, very gimmicky with a lot of the newcomers. Brawl has a few. You got Olimar in there. But it's little gimmick or no gimmick with these two. I mean, you could have the Rampage meter, but I don't.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, and that's,
I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, and that's even then that's more akin to like a Little Mac level gimmick, you know, so it's not too
Yeah,
crazy.
Little Mac is very low gimmick. It's just like you can kind of build up a meter to do a really strong punch, and then you cannot bite in the air.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the harpoon pump itself, the way that Kelly's written it out, I think it's fair and also fairly visceral. So you're getting a little bit of a satisfaction with both characters.
You trap load on his hand before they break free, kind of like
yeah.
I'm trying to think of another character that's sort of like that too. It has that same, I guess, any grab.
Dig Dug's reveal trailer in Smash would just be him using the harpoon pump on Waluigi's assist trophy.
And Rampage would be destroying his
Got
house.
Yeah, and eating him.
Yes.
Damn. And I think it's great because with Rampage you can kind of get like they've demonstrated with their platforming element with the buildings already kind of seeing how they might motion like their function. Dig Dug's not saying that like this isn't to say that he can't work because he only has like up, down, left, right in the air, but you get less of that with what's more of a tactical, almost like an action puzzle game, or a real time puzzle game in a way.
Yeah, totally.
We need a new Rampage game.
Yes,
we do. We need a new Dig Dug game too. We're kind of getting back into the world of Mr. Driller taking the front seat.
Oh no! Last time that happened, he got so mad.
Yep. Although, you know, there's only so much you can do with Dig Dug, honestly. Like, the first game is still plenty for me.
Yeah.
Whereas a new Rampage would be give us more environments to destroy, and okay.
There hasn't been a Rampage game since Total Destruction in 2006. That was the last one.
And give us even just like a... Well, no, that wouldn't work because they already did the... Total Destruction was the collection of the original World Tour, at least on GameCube. I don't know if they did it for Wii.
Give us like... Would a 3D city work?
Total Destruction... Oh, sorry, yeah. Total Destruction had a bit of... Like, it had like a bit of... You could move... It was still 2D, but in like a bit of 3D back and forth. So I don't know, maybe. You'd have to be very careful with it, though.
Like, give us that Godzilla feel. Where, like, we had this whole 3D city that we can kind of go through. Not on a 2D plane, like, actual, like, 3D going around buildings. And just, like, destroying the whole city.
Like, if the camera...
Like, 3 buildings.
If the camera followed you around buildings, it could feasibly work as long as you were still locked into that kind of grid, like buildings type thing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who even owns them anymore?
Activision, I think.
Oh, never mind. We're fucked. It's never going to happen now because every Activision studio is just working on Call of Duty.
Yep. Until Microsoft one day has a change of heart and they're like, we are actively working with Nintendo for a 10-year release plan for Rampage.
I mean, well, the deal for Activision and Microsoft is currently being fought, so.
Yeah.
Vehemently by Sony, among others. Yep. Sony's like, you can't put Call of Duty on Nintendo. That's too mature.
Missed their chance.
Nintendo pulls down the wall of their home, like on that SpongeBob episode with the diapers and the clam, and they're like, Bayonetta?
You know what? That's Sony's issue, not my problem. To quote Reggie for a second.
The TGAs where there's like, there has been a murderer among us, and they zoom in on
actually, Rampage is currently owned by Warner Brothers.
Weird. Okay.
Bugs Bunny.
Rampage in multiverses.
Yeah.
That would joke, but that would be pretty amazing.
We get
they added the Iron Giant.
Dude, what if DLC?
And we get LeBron James in Smash. My God, what?
I've won.
Yep.
Did you
know it? Man,
what did it cost? LeBron James and Smash Brothers. That is not the law of equivalent exchange.
Bugs Bunny and Smash. I'd be okay with that. in the scope of fourth party characters, I'd be okay with that, which is kind of hackneyed.
Man, poor Midway. They went bankrupt and died in 2010. They've been
That
gone.
Damn. Cruisin's still going though, right?
What?
They had that switch. Cruisin Blast had that switch port. Not to get off topic, but at least that's
Yeah.
still. So
Good game. Good game. Good series.
something so simple but so effective about playing as a in a racing game.
Absolutely. Yeah, Cruise and Blast, the Hot Wheels game that came out actually isn't so bad either.
Oh yeah, that just came out September 2021.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we
It
can
was in
get
the arcades first.
Wow.
Yep. Maybe we can get Excite Bike back on. No, that's probably not going to happen.
That's not gonna happen.
Excite Bots was a ridiculously good game that no one played. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Leanings.
so I have a lean between these two. I think both these characters would be great additions from the arcade library. There's still several arcade characters that we could get in Smash. Between these two, honestly, I'm feeling. Yeah, I got to go with the Rampage guys. Just the idea of being this giant hulking monster. Maybe one of the attacks is like they do a punch, but like a part of a building goes with the punch, and it's just like the debris falls down. Just the total destruction of it all. And they could bring a stage with them that as the fight is going on, like, yeah, you can fight on top of these buildings, but also
Destroy it, yeah.
Yeah, you can deal damage to the buildings and bring them down yourselves. Little Pichu as the next Rampage monster or whatever.
Imagine a spirit battle like that.
Yes. Or bring back an event match where you have the event is destroy the city. Because not all the event matches are focused on just destroying your opponent. So just have an event match which is like wreck the city.
Like Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luigi or as George himself tear his mansion apart.
That would be so great. Yeah, I mean, and to feed a little more into the Rampage fire too. I mean, looking to the phenomenal Dwayne Johnson led movie, who didn't have their heart rendered when it turned out that George was actually just playing dead to play to Davis Okoye's feelings. Who didn't feel like when Negan was revealed as a DLC character in Tekken 7 that they actually wanted Jeffrey Dean Morgan's Harvey to be playable instead?
Who actually watched the Rampage movie?
Not me. I was reading the wiki while we were talking.
I bet more people watched that than watched the Battleship movie.
Yeah. Playing the
God. Battleship in the next Smasher Dash. My lean, it's really easy to say Rampage because just the visceral nature of the characters. There's something really pleasing about that. I'll say they're on more even ground than I think that visceral nature would give them credit for, because it's so easy to just say Rampage. So I actually will say I'm leaning Dig Dug right now. Kind of just because it's more the game that I grew up with, and it's still a heck of a good time. I think it would be very fun to walk around and on a D-pad scale as an up recovery and blow people up with my harpoon.
They would feel faithful, that's for sure.
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a great job with both movesets.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so hard because they both have such big things going for them, and they've carved out their own niches. In terms of who I think maybe more deserving, I would say probably Dig Dug, because he's had the Annals of History. His name is all over it. Like he's one of the big contenders. He was in Wreck-It Ralph, for God's sake. Like
Twice, yeah.
You've made a big win. But in terms of who I'd want personally, though, I think it's the Monster Squad. But there's so much you could do with either side, and then like you say, they're very big contenders because they're both two sides of the coin. You have slower, more strategic, classic arcade versus go ham, go to town, wreck everything.
Yeah.
In terms of what style I want to see translate to Smash, though, I would say, give me the monsters.
Hell yeah.
Well, those were Aline's, or our votes.
Rampage.
Rampage.
Yeah, I'll go Rampage.
All right.
It's just too easy. I mean, I have a sentiment for Dig Dug, but the monsters, man.
Dig Dug just excavates New York so that he can just make a big pit trap for the monsters next time they come by. Like Dig Dug wins.
Yeah. I will say a number of Namco characters from back then. I would be so down for Gil or Dig Dug or Mappy. Yeah.
I also want to say that while we were looking at information on Rampage and Dig Dug, I found out that I'm not sure where this comes from. I think it might be Total Destruction. Apparently, there is a quote-unquote team name for George, Lizzie, and Ralph, and that's the Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew.
Just found that out.
I never.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Wrecking Crew.
Nice.
No eggplant people. No eggplant men involved in that one.
No,
Just
no
no
eggplants. No She-Hulk. Just George, Lizzie, and Ralph.
That's good.
Oh boy.
All right, so that's matchup number 1. Now, matchup number 2, we're going from the arcades to the indies in a battle of Quote and Curly versus the Batter from Off.
No, buddy.
All right, Kelly, you know I gotta say it. Go off.
Go off. So quote me on this, but so Cave Story is
absolutely quote you.
Yeah. Cave Story is one of the most important indie games of the generation. Probably some say the grandfather of indie games, made by one person, Daisuke Amaya, before one-person games was really a thing. It takes you play as Quote. He's a robot. He wakes up in a cave, which is on an island floating in the sky, with no memories of who he is or what his mission is. And as you play through, you find out that there's an evil doctor trying to control a species of cute animals. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Something you want to say?
Oh, there was an island in the sky, and a guy was being really rude, so I flipped him off.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Yes.
So yeah, that's. I guess I should say, well, Curly's kind of like. She's another robot. She has a machine gun. Well, Quote you at first, at least a pistol, and so they both try to stop the evil doctor from terrorizing the Mimigas, who are these little rabbit creatures race, and taking over the island to eventually seize the human world below. So that's Cave Story.
All right.
Lovely game.
A game that everybody should play at some point. It gets surprisingly. It's like it flirts with you, it impresses you, it tells you it loves you, and then it gut punches you in the Jiminy Christmas, and then says, "Do you give up?" You don't, then get ready because there's more coming your way.
I feel like a lot of games that you like are like that. I'm thinking about the games that you nominate for me to play.
Including the one that he's about to talk about with the Batter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Batter doesn't gut punch you. The Batter fucking beats you over the head with the bat.
Oh yeah.
Off is
It should
getting
be playable in Tekken.
That'd be cool. On the other hand, Off is like or Belgium, I guess, indie game made by Mortis Ghost in 2003. You play as the Batter, a so-called pure being assigned to the player. So you, the player, the Batter is sentiently aware of a force guiding him at all times, dictating his actions. So you're basically the god of the game.
Wow.
And so you're tasked with basically purifying the zones, which are these separate little, there's a city, there's an amusement park, there's mines, and it seems at first like your mission is a sacred one, that you're a holy being trying to eradicate ghosts and monsters. But as time goes on, things get noticed worse and worse. It's hard to go on without really talking about the ending, but oh. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't have a baseball bat.
Neither do I.
Oh, it's a Riddler.
Oh my god.
That's a good one.
Gandalf?
It's the closest I got.
Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper?
Man, when are we going to talk about him?
Freddy Fish? My favorite rod wielder.
Yeah, that's Off in a nutshell. Off is getting hit by a truck and then getting hit by the ambulance that comes to take you to the hospital.
and been there before. It was an 80-mile drive from the farm.
What?
Exactly, yes. So,
All right. So batter and then quote and curly. Both rendies. One is significantly more. Actually, were both these made by just one guy?
Mortis Ghost made it, but it was in RPG Maker, while Daisuke Maya kind of he had to make his own system program to create Cave Story.
Okay, so one guy made Cave Story, and then one guy with an asterisk next to his name made Off.
mm-hmm.
Man, I'm a genius with these matchups, I gotta say.
I should also add that Daisuke Maya composed all of Cave Story, while a different person, Elias Campbell, would compose for Off.
One person with two asterisks next to their name.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. With these two, honestly impressive that both these games were more or less, maybe just one guy. I'm not super familiar with either of them. I don't end up playing a lot of indie games, not because they're indie games, just because it's not worth them to gravitate. But so my knowledge on each of them, their gameplay is pretty minimal. I can tell that so Cave Story, apparently there's a variety of different weapons that you can get. There's swords, there's guns, and there's missiles. It's like, okay, sure. I mean, hey, who doesn't love missile launchers, right? I know I do. I would love to have one.
In real life?
I mean, I think I would terrify myself if I had one, to be honest.
Look at my Nikita.
I would just be scared to get in the room with it. It's like, one thing goes wrong, if it's loaded or not. I'd be concerned, honestly. There's machine guns. Apparently, there's like a bubble. Is this a bubble gun?
A bubble gun, yeah. So Cave Story's big.
That.
Yeah, the big mechanic is that you can defeat enemies and collect basically points to power up your weapons to a max level 3, but taking levels you down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the idea of a bubble gun is really fun. I had to say that's fun. But then swords, which what character doesn't have swords? There's so many swords. But I mean, the batter then has his baseball bat, which is borderline a sword for the way he would be using it in his game and in Smash. He's also got these add-ons, which are apparently like quote unquote party members for him that can give that have their own attacks or buffs that come with them. Alpha, which looks like it inflicts status effects. Omega is debuffs and curing status effects. Then Epsilon is just straight up damage, it seems.
Right.
And then the batter has his own attacks, which I know that he has one that kind of like reveals enemy stats or whatever. Then he has different stats, different damage elements of metal, plastic, smoke, and meat.
Correct.
Meat. It's weird. It's weird.
Elements.
Is this Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
They're just it's like smoke mine. They mine smoke, and they harvest meat from cows. It's strange. Off is bizarre. That's all I need to know.
It's a little off. I'm not gonna lie.
Something is off.
Yeah.
Switch it off. Yes.
And then he's also got some healing techniques. So they have some different utility between the two. I feel like you could make quote and curly. Like obviously I know you made a move set, but I'm talking like in like what might happen. Quote and curly having their various weapons. I'm guessing the Polar Star is the default gun. I'm guessing, or Polestar, whatever it's called. So that would make sense. That maybe like machine gun could be a special, or the missile launcher's probably in there. It looks like he has a jetpack, at least in his art. So I'm guessing he's got a jetpack he can use for his up. That's fun.
Yep.
And then batter is pretty much going to be like, all right, baseball bat for your main attacks, and then the different add-ons for some of your specials, or maybe they all rotate into one special, kind of like a Shulk's Monado Arts thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then his final smash is hitting you with the power of meat.
Just like Minecraft Steve before he got debuffed in the patch.
That's where the meat went!
Yeah!
We've solved the mystery! The batter stole Steve's meat!
It all makes sense now.
Oh my god. he must win the Smasher Dash so that way he can bring the meat back. Yeah, I like the way that Kelly brings the add-ons in as an extra skill here for the batter, and how they kind of work like Sentinel kind of in different movement patterns around the batter. That's pretty interesting to me. It kind of reminds me of almost like a side-scrolling shooter like Gradius or something, and bringing your little add-ons in that way. And so much of Off, I think it's made an RPG Maker, VX or something. So you're dealing with the standard RPG Maker battle system, which is almost like Earthbound, where a lot of the effects are not necessarily interpreted literally. You're seeing, you have to, an approximation. So I appreciate that you went out of your way to illustrate how these very obtuse moves would look in Smash, and giving them light in a 2D plane.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that turned out pretty well. So it's interesting. He's a batter, but that's also kind of just a representation of what's really more like just this deietic eldritch thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off kind of plays with perceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see, like different NPCs will say certain things that kind of allude to. You can't really talk about it without giving it straight away. So.
Mm-hmm. I would just say that the character is a protagonist, but it's not necessarily good or bad. It kind of exists beyond that reasoning. Yeah. So it's an interesting character.
I mean, can the character be good or bad when the lore itself, that the character has all of their actions controlled by the player, so they're really never in control? Can the character be good or bad?
That's the thing.
Yeah. That seems like a nice illustration for the larger reflection that Off is probably talking about, being ourselves.
There's also, like you mentioned Eldritch, but like there is like this whole like demonic looking form of the batter, and I just be like, all right, that feels Final Smash to me. Cinematic, he just transforms to that. We cut away to black, and we just hear screams.
Oh God, is the batter actually the stranger in the Rings of Power?
Is that what he looks like?
What the fuck is the Rings of Power?
The Silmarillion. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, the fucking Amazon Lord Rings. Yeah, I did not watch, so I don't know who the fuck the stranger is.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah. Anyway, in Quad and Curly, I mean, I think they're indie royalty at this point. Yeah, they like there's been just this massive incurrence of Metroidvanias in the indie landscape. Your Dead Cells, Hollow Knight, Shovel Knight, more recent Shantae. And it's arguable that maybe that wouldn't have been the case had Cave Story not run so they could also run.
Exactly. Owing to a lot.
Yeah, it's a massively
Cave Story crawled so Shovel Knight could run. And then Cave Story said, fuck you, I'm getting on my feet now too. With Cave Story Plus.
Yeah, they're Cave Story. Yeah, it's like the Skyrim of indie games. It's ported to everything.
Minecraft.
Portal in a sense.
And Minecraft, yeah. Yeah, you could it's the Skyrim of Metroidvanias. There you go. The Minecraft
it's like the meme of allow us to introduce ourselves for every new console.
Yep.
Minecraft, GTA 5, Skyrim, ported to everything.
Out the door. Wow.
And you know, there's a bevy of weapons that they could use. Kelly has a pretty good grasp in his moveset, I think, with the King's Blade as a down special, not really working as a normal sword would. And the booster pack, the missile launcher, the Polar Star, and Spurs as the standard. It's all pretty straightforward for the characters and what you would expect, which is great for these two characters because there's so much you can. Yeah. So it's well played.
No bubble gun.
No, I am
so
pretty.
I'm just gonna write that one down in my notes for later use.
Cave Story is kind of weird. There's a lot of weapons that are missable or exclusive to certain like you might have to have one that you can swap out for another, but you can't have both type of things.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to simplify it in that only the most core weapons that you get the most out of.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't mentioned it yet, but the whole extra skill with Quote and Curly playing into some parts of the game where Quote will have Curly on his back, and they'll both be firing, like you'll be firing Quote straight ahead, and Curly will be shooting behind you, which is a really awesome mechanic, I thought. So almost like a Banjo-esque stance change where you're shooting eggs with Banjo, but in this case, both of you are shooting.
Yeah, like a more effective version of Banjo's. Yeah.
Smelly egg.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
the Iron Wand is cool, and yeah, I'm just really impressed with the Cave Story in general. The series and how it's grown into the spin-offs, like the fighting game title and the puzzle game on the Switch.
Exchange.
Mm-hmm. And Crystal Crisis, also
Cave
starring
Story fighting game.
Blade
More-
Stranger.
more Tell us, would you say? Like their feet.
Mm-hmm. Quote and Curly are in the game, but there's also a number of other characters from other franchises.
Oh, that game. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
I think Curly sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, it was just that Curly was a playable character, and then Quote was like either an unlockable character or DLC. It was reversed kind of.
Yeah, he was unlockable. It says on this list.
There you go.
And Shovel Knight's in it. There's Code of Princess characters. Some
Isaac.
reason.
Isaac,
who was
Oh, wait,
Scarily
Isaac,
OP.
Binding Isaac?
Yeah.
yes,
Ah.
yes, yep. Oh boy, Gunvolt and
Yeah.
just other. Yeah,
Got a good
pretty
open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Theme song is really good too.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the question is, do you want the eldritch being who looks like a baseball player and has a bat and some magic stuff, or do you want the indie gods who play into kind of the Metroid shooter aspect and with more of a contemporary sci-fi aspect to them?
Oh,
I
That's
think.
right.
An inimitable duo.
Imitable duo.
I mean, I think the real question we need to ask ourselves is how would either of them deconfirm Waluigi's and his trophy?
The batter would just be that final smash thing that you mentioned.
Waluigi would absolutely be seen as an impure being by the batter, so absolutely screwed if he's in.
Waluigi shits himself. It's like, nope, I'm out. Bye.
Waluigi just leaves himself. He's like, never mind. He actually got the invitation. Yeah. Quote and Curly, I don't know. 'Cause they
Maybe
aren't inherently,
he gets stuck in like this or the sand zone or whatever it is, and he gets eaten by one of those big bone cruncher thingies.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's a million ways. Cave Story's like it looks cute, but it's got a lot of like scary stuff in it. So yeah, there's a lot of ways. Or he gets stuck in like one of the boss encounters. I don't know.
Yeah, he accidentally eats a red flower, and then Quote and Curly have to fight him.
That's also tragic decision making.
Quite a point in the game, yes.
What we're saying,
As far- yeah.
watch or play it, even better.
Yeah.
What are our leans looking like, boys?
I feel like I lean Quote and Curly. I think the batter could be interesting. Like, I kind of feel like, even just like visually speaking, kind of like, you know how Mr. Game Watch has like his stuttered movements with the whole, based on like the frames of the Game Watch. Like, I could see batter kind of moving in a way similar to that. And like, also like, he just has like that still that, he's just pure white and black. He doesn't have other colors on him outside of alts, obviously. And he just looks like he's plucked out of the game. Kind of like a very Hotel Dusk animation style.
Yeah.
I kind of feel. I think that'd be fun for him.
Imagine Kyle Hyde being playable in that way. Wouldn't that be the day?
I'll take Phoenix Wright.
Well, just from the shoulders up, like instead of a full body, just the profile of shoulders and head.
Jesus.
And when he jumps, you just have like this weird cutoff of his body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
What
weird.
What are legs? Oh.
God.
Anywho.
Yeah. It's like that would be cool for Batter. But I would say that I lean Quote and Curly.
Mhm.
I think kind of the opposite of where I went with Rampage because they were simpler. I think Quote and Curly just had some more fun tools here to kind of play around with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will say as
Like if it
someone who
was just
appreciates
Quote
Story.
against the batter, I don't know, it may be a little bit closer to me, but the addition of Curly as well, I think also boosts them.
Yeah.
Booster.
I played Cave Story quite a while ago and really enjoyed it. A few times on WiiWare and the Switch and the PC when it first came out. I was young when that game first came out, in like 2004 or something crazy.
Wow.
So I am leaning Cave Story as well. For pretty much for the reasons you mentioned, Lister. It's there's just more to them. And the legacy is undeniable, I think, versus off as well. But I do really enjoy the idea of the batter as well. You have the Game and Watch element, sure, and you also have the interpretation similar to again Ness and Lucas in that sense. So that's neat, and I like baseball.
Oh,
But, yeah, that's a looking real good.
the
HD.
bubblegum taunt where he just blows up black and white bubble.
Yeah, there you go.
But does it
So
taste like meat?
Yeah. Let's not.
like I'm not generally a fan of that kind of odd horror oddity that come, but off is interesting to me.
Mhm.
So so either which way, but my lean is Quote and Curly.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Off is interesting. It's like if abstract art were condensed into an indie RPG game. I think I'm leaning towards Quote and Curly just from their legacy and from the tools and their charm and their simplicity working for them. But man, Off would be so fun to see, like, because it's just got that unpredictability and that bizarreness, and just the person. Like, everybody loves like a kind of like a cowl, like he's got his brim pulled down. You never know what he's gonna do next. He's like, can we safe around this guy? Answer no. But he's really, I just love the whole like idea of having like cooldowns with some of the attacks kind of based on like the RPG maker system, having to wait to use your special. That'd be cool. But I think Quote and Curly just have more going for them.
I agree.
Okay, so well, taking it to official vote, Quote and Curly.
Quote and Curly.
Quote and Curly, super fighting robots.
And with that, the batter has had his hopes dashed. Whereas Quote and Curly and the Rampage crew, or Monster Squad, or Wrecking Crew, or whatever you want to call it, the collection that is George, Lizzie, and Ralph, the two of them will be moving on to the Tournament of Champions 4 at the end of the season.
Yeah.
With many other opponents who we don't know who the rest of them will be yet. This is only the second Smash or Dash of the season. We've got a lot more to go.
That we do. Looking forward to it. Sorry that the batter had to strike out, but here we go.
Ah.
And Dig has dug his last hole.
Sorry, Doug. Sorry, Douglas.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Kelly, once again, you have been on here. We've discussed some characters with you, Smash Dash wise. Maybe someday we'll get you to actually make a character with us, since you've made so many for the wiki. And I'm sure next season we'll probably have you on for another KellyJelly special. It's tradition at this point, and you still have several more characters of yours that we haven't discussed yet. So
That's right.
But that said, as for that's a topic for another season, probably. But as far as what's happening next time on Supercast Brothers, it's time for an on-topic episode. And we're going to be talking about the Legend of Zelda franchise and the content that it's had in Smash up to this point, and whether or not we think it's been represented well, if there's too much, if there's not enough, and maybe what we would do to address that.
We have some thoughts.
We have thoughts. If we didn't have thoughts,
thoughts,
it would not be an episode.
Tingle will be those thoughts, I'm sure.
I'm sure Tingle will be mentioned in some capacity.
The Kulu to our Limpas, that's right.
I
That's
was
for sure.
gonna do some variation of that, and thank you for not making me do it.
Uncle
All
Rupee
right.
sends his regards. Yes.
He would, actually. With that, though, we'll go ahead and end things here. And we'll see you all next time. All right, Kelly, get back in the box.